Picture this. You own a small engineering firm in Plano. You set up a retirement plan to take care of your people. And one Tuesday morning, a certified letter lands on your desk, naming you personally as a defendant in a federal lawsuit. Not your company, you. Welcome to Insurance Talk Texas, presented by Schell Insurance.
And that scenario is not hypothetical, which is the part that keeps me up at night. Most Texas business owners have never heard the phrase fiduciary liability insurance, but the moment you offer a retirement plan or a group health plan, federal law hands you a job title you never applied for.
The job title being fiduciary. Break that down for folks, because I think there's a huge misunderstanding here about who actually qualifies.
Great question, and here's what's important to understand. Under the federal law called ERISA, you don't become a fiduciary because a document says so. You become one because of what you do. If you exercise any discretion over the plan's investments, its fees, or which vendors you hire, you're a functional fiduciary, period.
So the owner is a fiduciary, maybe the CFO, maybe the HR director who picks the record keeper.
Maybe all three, and none of them realize it. The team at Schell Insurance sees this constantly with businesses across Collin County. Nobody's name is on a plan document as trustee, and everybody assumes that means nobody's exposed. That assumption is backwards.
Okay, but here's where I want to push, because I know what a lot of owners are thinking right now. They're thinking, hold on, I already bought that bond. My payroll company made me. I'm covered.
That's the single most expensive misunderstanding in this entire area. The ERISA Fidelity bond is mandatory, required at 10% of plan assets up to a federal cap, and it protects the plan from theft. Somebody with access steals the money, the bond makes the plan whole.
So the bond protects the plan.
The bond protects the plan. It does nothing for you. If an employee sues claiming you chose a provider with fees that were too high, or picked funds that underperformed, or never reviewed the vendor after hiring them, that bond pays zero, not 1 penny toward your legal defense.
That's crucial information. So the bond is the moat, and fiduciary liability is the castle wall.
That's a perfect way to put it. And this is exactly the conversation Schell Insurance has with plan sponsors in McKinney, Prosper, and Allen. You can reach them at 972-423-4546.
Let's talk about what fiduciary liability actually pays for. I want people to hear specifics.
It pays defense costs, settlements, and judgments arising from breach of fiduciary duty, administrative mistakes like failing to enroll somebody or miscalculating a benefit, imprudent investment selection, claims that your fees were unreasonable, and it responds when the Department of Labor opens an investigation.
Department of Labor investigations. That's the piece people forget. That's not even a lawsuit, and you're still writing checks to attorneys.
You're paying attorneys, consultants, expert witnesses. And here's the part that alarms me. ERISA prohibits the plan from indemnifying a fiduciary who breached duty, so the money can't come from the plan. It comes from your house, your savings, your investments.
Personal assets, from a decision you made trying to do something generous for your employees.
That is the cruel irony of this entire coverage line. The people most exposed are the ones who chose to offer benefits in the first place.
All right, give me the Texas angle. Why does this matter here specifically?
Here's what makes this urgent for North Texas. The Northern District of Texas has become one of the most active federal venues in the country for ERISA disputes. When somebody sues a business in Frisco or Denton County over a retirement plan, that case lands in a court system shaping national fiduciary law.
So you're litigating at the epicenter, not on the sidelines.
Exactly the point. And the volume is climbing. Attorneys have moved beyond the old excessive fee playbook. We've seen a wave of forfeiture lawsuits, challenging how sponsors reallocate contributions from employees who left before vesting. Filings there jumped more than 40% in a single year.
Forfeitures. That's a routine accounting decision. Nobody thinks of that as a lawsuit.
Nobody did. And now there's litigation over tobacco surcharges on health plans, over voluntary benefit programs, over how you monitor a provider network. Plaintiff firms find these targets using publicly filed plan documents. Your Form 5500 is a public record.
Wait, so a law firm can screen for candidates without ever having spoken to a single one of your employees?
They can, and they do. Which is why the professionals at Schell Insurance treat fiduciary liability as the third leg of the management liability stool, alongside directors and officers coverage and employment practices liability. We covered both of those in recent episodes. Fiduciary completes the set.
Let's be clear about what this policy will not do, because I never want anybody buying coverage with the wrong expectation.
Smart. It won't cover intentional fraud or theft, that's the bond. It won't cover failure to fund the contributions you promised, or claims you already knew about before you bought the policy. And like directors and officers coverage, it's typically claims made, so the policy enforced when the claim is filed is the one that responds.
Which means letting it lapse creates a gap that never closes.
A permanent one. If you're a plan sponsor anywhere in Collin or Denton County, call Schell Insurance at 972-423-4546 or go to schellinsurance.com. That's SCHELL insurance.com. Do it before the certified letter shows up.
Perfect note to end on. Thanks for listening to Insurance Talk Texas, presented by Schell Insurance. We'll see you next week.